Continue reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Text number 5 of the 15th chapter, the Bhagavad-Gita. It's a very important verse. I mean, they're all important verses, but especially today. Okay. Please repeat after me. Nirmana moha jitas Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama Dvandair vimukta sukha dukkha samjair. Go get Bhagavad-Gita. We have Bhagavad-Gitas there. Get one also over there. Gajanti amudha padam avyayamta. Word for word meaning. Nihi, without. Mana, false prestige. Moha, and illusion. Jita, having conquered. Sangha, of association. Dosha, the faults. Adhyatma, in spiritual knowledge. Nitya, in eternity. Vinivrita, disassociated. Kama, from lust. Dvandai, from the dualities. Vimukta, liberated. Sukha dukkha, happiness and distress. Samjhai, named. Gachanti, attain. Amudha, unbewildered. Padam, situation. Avyayam, eternal. Tat, that. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are free from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Everybody please repeat after me. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. If you are in this category, you don't need to be in this class. You are already perfect. We all need to hear this. A very important verse. Purport. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride, because the conditioned soul is puffed up like a chapati. So like this, right? You know, he puffed up. Thinking himself the Lord of material nature, it is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion. For although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has the fullest notion that he is the Lord of the world. He thus makes all things complicated, and he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under this impression. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free from all the false associations caused by familial, social, and national affections. These faulty associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta Purport, 15th chapter, text 5, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Amagyanantimirandasya gyanangyana shalakaya Chaksurum militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurum Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kipa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. When you do like this, that means surrender. You don't surrender with one arm, right? It's like in a war. You have a flag, a white flag, but one of the arms also is like this. It's a very nice verse because it explains about the surrendering process. not to surrender is unnatural. This is not the tendency of the living beings. It's more difficult to not to surrender because it is unnatural. Not to surrender for the jivas, living entities, is natural. That means if it's natural, that means it's easier. But why is it difficult for us to surrender? We're jivas. We're not dead stone. We're not dead matter. We're living beings. But why is it so difficult for us to surrender? Well, that is the main reason why we are here in the material world, and we still keep on taking birth again and again in this material world, is because we're not surrender. Surrender to who? We have to surrender to our wife, or to our husband, or to our children, or to our friends, or to the boss at work. But ultimately, everybody has to surrender. It's like surrender and service is like synonymous. Ultimately, we have to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Lord. If He's the Lord, He's a Supreme Master, and we are His servants. So the main focus here is that we have to understand systematically why is it that we are disqualified in surrendering. We have to qualify ourselves in order to go back home, back to Godhead. But we're disqualified in surrendering because we are attached to our ego. False ego, ahankar. It says in the Bhagavad-Gita, false ego. The ego or consciousness, they're like kind of like synonymous. If you understand your position that you're a servant of Krishna, then that is the real ego. That means you're conscious always that I'm not the body, I'm a spirit soul, and my duty is to serve Krishna. That is the real constitutional position. He's always thinking like that, and therefore he is in his real ego. Unfortunately, because of illusion, we are deluded by pride. So number one enemy of the living beings is our being proud. I'm proud, or being pride. Or being proud means it is connected with the body, this material form. Prabhupada says also it's okay to be proud that you're a devotee. But don't be proud in such a way that you are better than others. Then you will forget the main duty of a Vaishnava is to help others, save them from being conditioned. So it is all right to be proud of one's position as a Vaishnava, but then if you just become concerned of, yes, I'm a Vaishnava, I'm the best, I'm better than anybody else, then that is false ego again. That is not proper. So, if one is under the modes of material nature, he cannot surrender. It's not possible. One who is only in the mode of pure goodness, then he is considered as a surrendered soul. As long as one is acting under the modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, there is no way that he can surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So what we're doing every day is that the process of ultimately we'll be able to surrender our mind, our speech, our actions, and our very self, Atmanivedanam, unto the Supreme Lord. So that's why we practice this bhakti yoga, sadhana bhakti, then later on Raganuga Bhakti, then Bhava Bhakti, then Prema Bhakti. Ultimately, the goal is Prema Bhakti. So, we spend lots of time in practicing this process. But, what is our motivation? Why we're doing this? Are we having self-interest? Are we having ulterior motive? Or just to please Guru and Krishna? The more we become selfless, that means the more we focus our body, our mind, our words, our very self into serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees, then the more we become purified and we go into that platform of transcendental platform. We'll reach the transcendental platform. The first thing that we have to curtail is this pride, this false ego. We're deluded. We're so, it says here, puffed up, as I mentioned earlier, like chapati. You put becomes like this. We're so proud of our not so great condition. A neophyte devotee, he thinks that he is the greatest. A kanista bhakta, he thinks everyone is lesser than him. He thinks he's better than, due to his, let's say he has a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of wealth, but he will magnify that. He'll make it big. Oh, I'm better than him, better than her. And he will always find faults. That means he may be practicing Krishna consciousness, but in a mode of ignorance. He says in the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 4 ways how one perform bhakti. One in a mode of ignorance, one in a mode of passion, one in a mode of goodness, and one in the transcendental platform, pure goodness. One who's in the mode of ignorance, who's practicing bhakti-yoga in the mode of ignorance, he's very proud. He's very proud. He has so much pride in what he's doing. As a mode of ignorance. It says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he thinks if he does a little bit of service, he thinks that that is the best. But it is not, because he is seeing everyone as faulty. Let's say a pujari. He may be doing some service, but grudgingly, because head pujari told him to do it, or his superiors told him to do it. He will do it grudgingly, and if he does a little bit nice, then he'll be so proud of what he did. Another pujari who's doing service, but this in the mode of passion, still very proud, very, very proud of what he's doing. One is in the mode of goodness. He will think that, oh, I'm so fallen, but by the mercy of the Supreme Lord and my spiritual master, they're giving me a chance to do some service, even though I have so many mistakes, I commit so many offenses and so on. By their mercy, they're giving me chance to do it. So there is hope for him to make further advancement and come to the platform of pure goodness. And it's easier for him to surrender. It's easier for him to surrender. So one has to cultivate this knowledge. We have to, as we've mentioned earlier from the last meeting that we had, we have to discriminate these modes of material nature. Try to find out where we are at. So it's easier for us to make further advancement in Krishna consciousness. We mentioned earlier that we have to choose our association as well. And this is not Vaishnava Parad. If one can see that somebody is like this, that I should not associate with this devotee, even though he's trying his best, but I have to avoid him because I can see that according to the Shastra, yes, we have to see things in the eyes of the scriptures. It's called Shastra Chakshu. Shastra Chakshu. Our senses, definitely in neophyte or the beginning stage, were very contaminated. But we can see through the eyes of the scriptures. And if we see, then the process of surrendering becomes easy. Because the association is very important in making progress in Krishna consciousness. The surrendering process is very important. If we see externally only, then we can be also in illusion. We may see a devotee, let's say, so busy all day long, working hard, getting up early in the morning, and sleeping late. But is that the criteria of that being that I should follow him also? What if he is also busy doing prajalpa? What if he's also busy criticizing devotees? He may be busy doing service. That doesn't make him a pure devotee. What actually makes him a pure devotee is what his motive. Is he trying to show that I am the best? Or I'm just a low servant and I'm doing my best to serve Guru and Krishna? It's very difficult to surrender if our motive is only meant for ourselves. It's not, we're not be able to go back to Godhead if we keep performing mixed devotional service. Only one who is in the pure devotional service, he can go back home, back to Godhead. And surrendering is very easy. So when one is free from this delusion caused by pride, then he can begin the process of surrender. It's like when we offer our obeisances, Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesa Sunyabari Pasacha Desatarini. The first word in the mantra that we utter is Namaha. Namaha. Obeisances. Obeisances. So when we offer our obeisances, it shows that we're trying to surrender. We're trying to surrender. Through words, again through words, to the mind, to action, and our very self. One should perform their service without expecting anything in return. The material world, everyone is performing activities because they want to be glorified or they want to be praised. It says that they had a survey that the number one word, most famous word that one wants to hear is His name. So it's like, if you hear your name, you feel elated. You feel very, very proud, right? Oh, my name is being mentioned. But the devotee who is a surrendered devotee is like, we have so many examples in our movement, and the foremost I can think of is Jayananda Prabhu, who performs service all day long. He performs service. He's the first one to get up, to wake up, and he's the last one to sleep. He's the president, and he performs all the duties. He washes pots, he fixes the cars, sweep the floor, everything. Pujari, give class. But when he gives class, he may not be very, very like knowledgeable in scriptures, but when he gives class, it's full of inspiration. And you can tell that he's surrendered unto the Supreme Lord, and especially to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada will be calling for him. He's in the background. Those devotees always in the front. Of course, it doesn't mean they are proud, but usually those who are in the front, they want to show off. No offense, but that is just the way it is. But he is always in the background, and Prabhupada will always call upon him. And you will never hear him criticize any devotee. You do a little bit of service, he will fan it, he will make it so big. You do a little bit, oh, Prabhu, you're very expert. Where did you learn this from? Whatever he learns, he teaches to others. And if he hears some kind of criticism, he will just walk away. So he's not that on that level, which is, as Prabhupada, when he left, he says he went back home, back to Godhead. Because there's no pride. He's not in illusion. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Naham Vipra, Naham. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Satriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Sudra, I'm not a Sannyasi. I'm not a Brahmachari, I'm not a Banaprasa, not Grihastha. Then who am I? I am Gopi, Bhartu, Padakamalayur, Dasa, 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 Anudas. Because there's a tendency, one's position, status in the society. Oh, I'm a Brahmana, therefore I'm better than you. You're Vaishya, you're less. Oh, I'm a sannyasi, therefore, because I'm a sannyasi, supposed to be the spiritual master of all the classes in the society. And if he's proud of his position, he may be in that position of spiritual status, but then he cannot. He'll be not accepted into the kingdom of God when he leaves his body. So this is the disease, is skin disease. As Prabhupada says, I'm an Indian, I'm American, I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim. Prabhupada will always hammer on this in almost every classes, because of course we can understand that a certain extent, but mostly we forget immediately also. And what to say, yes, subtle. It's easier to understand that we're not the body, but is it easier to understand we're not the mind? Or we're not this ego, the position that I have? Is that more easier to understand? It's more difficult. Especially the leaders. Bhakti-tirtha Swami Maharaj, he wrote a book, this beggar series of books. And the beggar number 3 is about the pride. is the number one enemy of the leader. A material leader. So proud. We have many, many examples of them, especially the leader of the United States of America. He's so proud. He's so much in the bodily concept. It's a fact. We're not criticizing, but that is, he wants to put a wall between Mexico and America so that the people from here will not go over there. And he's trying to kick out so many already living in America for so many years, these people from Honduras or something. He says, no, by year 2020, you cannot stay in this country. It is mine. It belongs to me, so you cannot do it. As long as I'm the president here, you cannot do it. Well, that doesn't belong to you. You're just a caretaker. It's a post. You'll be kicked out someday, and somebody will be there. So as much as possible, instead of taking care of those already on his domain, he's trying to get rid of many, many people. But it's not going to happen. It says here, Prabhupada, people are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. Very appropriate. Very appropriate. So much in the bodily platform. So one has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. If we don't put God in the center or in the front, then we will find it so much difficulty, so much suffering, so much calamities. We'll not be able to understand how actually, as Prabhupada says, in this world there is no such thing as good or bad. Everything is bad because of our perception. A perception of the vision of a pure devotee, everything is good. Something happens to him which is materially may not be very, very favorable, but he will consider this as Krishna's mercy and it's still good. Because Krishna, whatever he does for everyone is for their own betterment. So one has to cultivate knowledge of what actually his own and what actually is not his own. Ultimately, actually, nothing belongs to us. We came here naked. And when we live, either our body will be burnt, that means that's it, burnt, no more clothes again, or will be buried. Then after some time, our body will be eaten by worms, or in some places, their body is being let to be eaten by vultures. Right? It's like in the desert. They just put your body there and vultures will devour your body. We come here nothing, we live here nothing. The only thing we carry with us is our karma. And the more we become attached to this bodily concept of life, then the more it's difficult for us to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So knowledge, cultivation of knowledge is very important. And here, after this verse, we'll be here about the glories or the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How He is the best of everything. Lord Krishna giving us an opportunity in this human form of life to revive our original Krishna consciousness, and we should take advantage. We should take advantage of this human form of life. It may take us so many lifetimes again So we have to be mindful, especially when we perform our service. We're just now trying to perform devotional service. When Prabhupada says devotional service in his books, that means pure devotional service. We're now just trying to come to that platform of pure devotional service, because as long as we have, what's that? Tendency to speculate, jnana karmadi anavritam. Anukulyena krishnanam silanam bhaktir uchate. As long as we have this perception of our mental speculation, which not according to proper intelligence and ultimately not acting under our real ego, that is what we call real ego, then we're not in the platform of pure devotional service. As long as we have a tendency to gain fruits or fruitive reactions, want to accumulate more and more materially, then it's not possible to come to the platform of pure devotional service. Not possible to surrender. Not possible to surrender. We have to get rid of being in the mixed devotional service. We should come to the platform of pure devotional service. And it all boils down, especially when we chant the holy name of the Lord, because it purifies our consciousness. When our consciousness is pure, then everything becomes pure. If one has false ego, everything is false. Just remember that. If one has false ego, then everything is false. Because you're misidentifying with the body, with this body as the self, then all the actions, all the interests, all the motivations, all the motives will be misdirected, not going towards for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So one must be very, very scrutinizingly reading Srila Prabhupada's books, especially this Bhagavad-Gita. Some they want to relish immediately Krishna Lila without being surrendered. And I've seen that here in Vrindavan. I've seen so many. They just want to hear Krishna Lila. And they cannot even understand Bhagavad-Gita. Trying to hear Krishna Lila without surrender is not really hearing. It is such just enjoyment which doesn't last for long. It's not possible to surrender to Krishna without knowing who is Krishna. And one cannot know Krishna by jumping immediately to his Leela. First you have to understand Krishna Tattva. Who is Krishna? What is his qualities? What makes Krishna God? But others, they somehow misunderstood that, oh, let me just hear Krishna Leela. There is some katha here about Krishna Leela. And without understanding his instructions first. So how can you relish the Leela without understanding Krishna? That first you have to surrender, giving up your ego. Because we cannot put ourselves immediately in the platform that, oh, I'm a gopi or I'm a gopa or in this kind of position. First we have to understand we're all servants of Krishna. We should go on that platform first. We're servants. Then we can come to the platform of happiness, real happiness, because we're in the level where we can surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He becomes full in knowledge when one becomes free from the dualities of conceptions of happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ultimately, all of Prabhupada's books is written in such a way that it will lead us to surrender to Krishna. And this chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is an act of surrender. It's an act of surrender. You're surrendering your mind, your intelligence, your ego. That's why we're chanting. Been there, done that, everything. Culmination is the chanting. So one will not chant the holy name of the Lord if he doesn't want to surrender. And after trying to be surrendered, and once one is in the surrender platform, he still continue chanting. Chanting will not stop after surrender. In order for us to surrender, we endeavor to chant purely. And when one is chanting purely, that means he's already surrendered and still continue to chant. One will never give up the chanting. So it's very important. It's a very important verse. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Personality and attain to that eternal kingdom. This is all interconnected. The very first that one has to curtail is that false prestige. Because it's connected. False prestige means one's position. One has to give it up. It's the thickest of them all. As we mentioned earlier, the covering of this material world is 8 elements, 5 gross, and 3 subtle elements. Bhumir, Apo, Nalu, Vayu, earth, water, fire, air, then ether, then mind, intelligence, and ego. We don't see this. Have you seen your mind? Murli, have you seen your mind lately? No, it's there. Making plans all the time, how to be properly situated, how to enjoy. Intelligence, sharp, know what to do, what not to do. And then ego, identifying with the real self, servants of the Supreme Lord. And the thickest of them all, it goes thicker and thicker and thicker, and false ego is the thickest. Before we can penetrate, or before we can pierce the coverings of this material world or this universe and enter into the kingdom of God. Okay, we'll stop here for now. You have any questions or comments? Yes, sir. Karvajan Prabhu.
You were giving the example of Prabhu that he
Jayananda Prabhu, not Jay.
Sorry.
Jayananda Prabhu.
He was doing his services, everything properly. So as a servant, he was doing everything properly. So now as we are servants, so we have to do our service is more important, or our whimsically mind asks you to go here and do some other things, or sometimes we want to say straightforward to someone, but we cannot say the things. So what is that?
What is more important in what we're doing is our motive, our interest. if your motivation is I want to be the best pujari ever, but also to help others to become good pujaris, that is a mode of goodness. Okay, but if we say I want to be the best pujari, but I don't care, I'm not going to teach anybody because I want to be the best. Because if I teach someone, that person may surpass me. So that is mode of ignorance. Yeah. Oh, I'll be the best pujari and I will be known all over the world. Everyone will glorify me. No. If you want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, just stick to your service, no matter what happens. Okay? Don't go jump here and there and says, oh, I need a break, I need to go. There's no break in Krishna consciousness. He says, oh, no, I've been doing this service all year long. I need 1 month. I have to go to Mayapur. You don't need to go to Mayapur. Of course, you can go to Mayapur, but for some reason, let's say I want to go for association. But if you go there just to socialize, you know, hey, you got a nice kurta. Where can I get this kind of kurta? You know, yeah, nice sari. Is that from South India? Can you tell me? No, this is... No. It says, hey, Prabhu, you've been around for a long time. Can you please tell me what makes you more become so enthusiastic all the time? This is the kind of association. Okay. So, and in our movement, Prabhupada says, we're like in an army. Whatever the authorities tell us to do, we should follow. So we should not question. I'm sorry, Prabhu, it's not of my service to do. We should be happy. We should always take the opportunity to serve Krishna. We should always take the opportunity to preach, to tell about Krishna to others. It's like for me, so many, you know, Maharaj, can you do this? Can you do this? Okay. I will say yes. If I say no, I miss the opportunity. It may not happen again. But you should know your limits as well. If you cannot do it, you just say, Prabhuji, have some other engagement, or I'll do it some other time. Like that. Most important ingredient in bhakti is your motive. Why you're doing what you're doing. It's not external. Bhakti is not external. Bhakti is internal. I mentioned that earlier. You go busy up and down. But what is your motive? You want to make money, right? I'm not talking about you. What's in it for me? The materialists, they do anything and everything. They will not move without rupiah. Okay? They will not move. Without rupiah, they will not touch. But for us, we do it because we want to please Guru and Krishna. Some devotees, they even forget to eat. That's why they get sick. Because if they eat, they will stop, you know, what they're doing.
Giving the example, just like in military, we have the uniforms. Whatever the uniform we have to, in the military, if you have a uniform, you are recognized as a military man.
Yes.
Here also, Prabhupada gave us that we are also military men, we are in the uniform.
Yeah, we have the same tilak.
Yeah. But sometimes we deviate from the uniform. We put whimsically our different things and we say, hey, we are this. So that is the commander. He sees that everything should be perfect. And when the commander is
If they cannot do that, they're not surrender. If they don't want to surrender, I'm not gonna. I have one devotee here right now, not here. He's not following the way Prabhupada says. Okay, you don't want to surrender, I'm not gonna force you. You will surrender someday. Maybe in the hard way. I'm asking you right now, you want to make advancement? He's doing Purusuttam Brat, Purusuttam Mas Brat, but in the wrong way. This is not the way. Tell me where in the Shastra says that this what you're doing is Purusuttam Brat. Oh, Maharaj, I already started it. I want to finish it the whole month. Then after this month, I'll follow you. Okay, let's see. I mean, you cannot do. That's up to the person. But we have to know what Prabhupada's mood. We have to follow. We have to follow to the best what we can. But if you're going in a wrong direction, you're not trying to follow. Isn't it? You know the Prabhupada didn't tell you to do this and you're doing it. That means your mind, you're a slave of your mind. You're an again, where is the surrender? You're under your this is a false ego. He says, oh, Maharaj, I will break my brat. What do you mean brat? This is not even the brat. It doesn't say. So how can you prove that this is a brat? It doesn't. You didn't even start anything. This is ideal. Look at him. Tilak, shaved head, kurta, dhoti, neck beads. This is our uniform. Mataji, sari. This is our uniform. You're a Babaji, fine. Then you can practice it. You can practice whatever you like, but to be included in Prabhupada's family, we have to know what the Acharya told us, instruct us what to do. Sign of surrender means you follow the Acharya. How can you please Radha and Krishna if you are not be able to please the founder Acharya, the spiritual master? But this is my understanding. This is the way I would like to serve Radha Krishna. No, that is your concoction. It will not work. This is how I want to surrender. That is not surrender. That is your false ego. That's your being proud. Okay, fine. You want to do it? Fine. I'm not going to force you. But then he says, well, after this month, I will follow what you're telling me to do. Well, let's see. It doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense to him what I'm saying. But hopefully he will. But still, he will have this mentality. This is what he called separatist. Prabhupada mentioned that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. Huh? Yeah, separatist. You want to be a separatist? Fine. I mean, it's a free world out there. He was in the ashram, and now he wants to practice what he wants to do. Now he has to stay outside. So he sacrificed that. But still, he can do the service. But is that service included? He says, can I continue my service? Okay, fine. But this is what we're talking about earlier, isn't it? The external doesn't work ultimately. It works. What works is inside. But of course, what is inside, it shows outside also. But not always what is being shown outside is what is inside. Does it make sense? Okay? Here's the points. Yes.
Sometimes for Gurujan Prabhu lecture in Benchi,
Yes.
he wrote that pride and envy, they're two sisters.
Brothers and sisters.
Two sisters.
Or two brothers.
Pride and envy.
Or cousins.
So Mataji asking the question, if by the mercy of spiritual master, somebody will become free of pride by devotional service,
Okay.
the envy will go away by itself, because his pride is gone, and the envy will go automatically.
See, you were saying pride and envy, they're sisters or brothers or cousins. They're relatives. Okay. So if envy is gone,
No, pride
if pride is gone
by devotional service,
by devotional service,
mercy of the spiritual master,
okay, by the mercy of the spiritual master is gone.
means envy also will go away.
I don't know which one goes first. But definitely the root cause is being proud. When you're proud, you also becomes envy, because you think you are the best, and you see somebody whom you think is better than you, then you become envious. You think that one is competing with you, so you want to be better than him. And there are two kinds of envy. Envy means you want to be better than him, and the other envy is you want to get rid of him. That is worse. That is really like that envy is that's rakshasa, demoniac. This is qualities of demoniac personalities. He says in the divine and demoniac natures in the Bhagavad-Gita: pride, arrogance, conceit, envy. These are all in the mode of darkness, mode of ignorance. So yes, you have to work very, very hard in your curtailing the false ego, the ahankar, because this is the root cause. As I said earlier, if you have false ego, everything is false. Everything follows after that. Huh? Is the last. Is the last, but is also the first. Being proud means false ego. Is the first to give up, but is the most difficult to give up. But is the first to give up, because it is hierarchy: the senses, the mind, intelligence, then ego. If you're properly situated in your ego, you'll very easily be able to control the senses. So that's the first thing that we should do. Our ego, we should be always remembering, I'm a servant of Krishna and Guru and the Vaishnavas for whatever we're doing. Mine, who cares? Yes, yes.
And he said,
Is that on? Now it's on.
So 50.5, he uses an introduction and he says, this is a way which offered to us by Lord. And in this manner, we should, in this step by step,
Yeah.
we should surrender to Supreme Lord. And he said this detachment and attachment, or he said our last desire. This is also a root cause, because we came here is using this combination of the words everywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam and in Bhagavad-Gita. Specifically, Srila Prabhupada's combination of words. To lord it over the material
nature, yes.
I'm thinking always, what is it? Eat. This eat. To lord it over the material. Eat. What is it? This eat. The desire or our lust or our desire. We came here to fulfill our sense enjoyment, desire to gratify our senses. So we couldn't do this in spiritual world, because spiritual internal energy not allows us to gratify our senses. So we came here to do these things which we want to do, to lord it over the material nature. And over material nature gives us the possibility very also falsely. He's cheating us on every step.
This is another
cheating us and giving us just the illusion of that we are sanctifiers.
Okay.
But actually
Ultimately, again, your desire will depend on your ego. Your desire will depend on your ego. Your identification with yourself. If you're in a mode of ignorance, your ego is in a mode of ignorance, your desire will be in the mode of ignorance. If your desire is in the mode of passion, your desire will be in the mode of passion. But if you're identifying yourself as a servant of Krishna and you act on that, then your desire also will always be transcendental. Yeah.
To be better than others, be more knowledgeable, more bright, more
Yeah.
pure than others. I'm so pure and you are not.
Please keep reading the Bhagavad-Gita. Some other says, oh, I'm already graduated in the Bhagavad-Gita. We cannot even understand one verse. It'll take us, so many studies of Bhagavad-Gita. Others they say, oh, but Bhagavad-Gita. We only need one book, ultimately, the Bhagavad-Gita, to understand.
You see, in this translation, it is
Yeah.
at least one point there. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Who finished with this material lust?
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you.
Material lust is so very prominent and can be very easily understood at young age. It
Yeah.
can manifest, but
Yeah.
at the old age,
Yeah. It's still there. It's still there.
It comes out in this way.
Yes.
But, what to do? It's not easy to just give it.
Dovetail. Prabhupada says dovetail everything towards Krishna. The desire will always have desire, lust will always be there, but dovetail everything to Krishna. You have attraction towards the opposite sex, do it towards Krishna.
How is it possible to finish in one lifetime?
It's possible. You have to get possible. You go to the mode of goodness. Then you can go to the pure goodness. If you're in a mode of ignorance, not possible. If you're in a mode of passion, not possible. At least go in the mode of goodness. Then, the next is pure goodness. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.